Sponsored by Pike Pass, the safest travel at the lowest price.
Right now, News 9 at 9, an Oklahoma woman is raising thousands of dollars in honor of her sister who died of lung cancer. How this woman's turning grief into something good for the community, it's coming up.
Winds are ramping up, temperatures are climbing. We'll have a chance of rain tonight and then severe storms later in the week. It's a wild 9-day.
Also coming up, a way to save and protect your money. An expert joins us live to explain I-bonds and how they can benefit you.
First, here's your snapshot. It's Monday, March 20th.
Rogers County family threatens to shoot a man who investigators say kicked in their front door while running from deputies.
Said, I just need water, I'm hurt, I was in a car accident. And my husband kept yelling, if you don't back away, I will shoot you.
The family called 911 and deputies arrived to take Williams into custody.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping is visiting Moscow today in what will serve as a political boost for Russian President Vladimir Putin.
By making a trip like this, China can signal that it could even do more to help Russia.
The meeting comes at a critical moment in Russia's war against Ukraine.
American Legion Post 274 says they're in desperate need of repairs after years of neglect.
Been using it for 60 years, and I think this is original equipment here. It's at least 50 years old.
Their building has no heat or air for the past year. It's going to cost them about $25,000, so the Post has started a fundraising campaign.
Oklahoma's own News 9 starts now.
Breaking news right now. Let me show you. This is live. Northbound I-35. It is closed just north of Northeast 50th Street due to a big collision.
We do have a crew there bringing us this live look. It's slow going. Our photographer, Stephen Owsley, says it's a 5-car pileup. Slow going on the side roads as well. Again, a live look. I-35 northbound near Northeast 50th shut down. We'll update you just as soon as we get more information on this one. Thanks for being with us for News 9 at 9. I'm Storm Jones.
I'm Robin Marsh, and Lacey Swope in the house with us today. And things are a little bright around here on the News 9 studios.
It added so much color. Isn't it nice?
Yes, it's like spring is in the air all the way around.
All the way around. We just wanted to spice things up. That's the way it is. Spring officially begins today. So it's later this afternoon's the equinox. It's 4:24 if you want to get specific.
Okay.
Winds pick up as we go through the day. You'll notice it's already gusty and it will be breezy this afternoon. Guys, we're on a warming trend. It was so brutally cold over the weekend. Just ridiculous. As we headed into the early morning hours for the weekend, man, single digits, teens. This morning has been a little bit warmer, and in some areas it's 20 to 30 degrees warmer, depending on where you are. I'll show you those current temps in a sec. There are the showers moving into West Texas. As this storm gets its act together, our rain chances do go up, but it's mainly late this evening and tonight across Oklahoma City. Rain is still pretty spotty. As we zoom in and take a closer look, you can see a few showers starting to firm up, a few counties deep there into the Texas Panhandle. All moving eastbound. It's 39 degrees on our Lucky Star Sky Cam network. South winds, they are already up and gusty. We're in the 30s, the low 40s. Winds are 15, 25 in the metro, gusts over 30 in the northwest. Still feels like the 20s and low 30s, but we're headed to the 50s and 60s later today. Spring showers in the forecast tonight. Highs back in the 70s and 80s on your 9-day, and then severe storm chances. They are going up for your Thursday. The very latest with that is minutes away.
Lacey, thanks so much. Our headlines right now. The family of a McAlester police officer critically injured in a head-on collision is now thanking the community for all the support.
25-year-old officer Joseph Barrow was hit during a police funeral procession for another McAlester officer who died suddenly last week. News 9's Addie Crawford has the latest.
Many fellow officers gathered in support at a Tulsa hospital over the weekend as police say Barlow has underwent several life-saving surgeries. Investigators say the officer was at the end of the procession when the driver of a truck yanked the wheel, crossing the center median and hitting Barlow's patrol car head on. Glenpool police arrested the driver, Martin Rivas, for not having a driver's license and driving illegally while causing great bodily harm. Fellow law enforcement are calling for prayers this morning for their fellow brothers in blue who are grieving the loss of one friend and holding out hope for another.
So as a family at home, we stand out here on the side of the road for a living, so there's a lot of people that stand on the side of the road for a living, so pay attention. Record drivers, law enforcement, firemen, everybody. Pay attention to what's on the roadway. Quit being distracted and drive your vehicle.
In a statement, the family of Joseph Barlow thanked law enforcement and fellow Oklahomans for their outpouring of love, support, and prayers. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about the officer's condition. I'm Addie Crawford for Oklahoma's Own News 9.
Addie, thank you. The Oklahoma Department of Transportation says it's redesigning an intersection in Tishomingo where 6 teenagers died. A year ago, those 6 high school students were killed when their vehicle collided with a semi at the intersection. Now officials want to redesign it to make it safer. ODOT says they're looking for input and plan to hold public meetings either late this year or early next year. They hope to start construction in 2026.
Other headlines this week, the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority is set to meet over the statewide health information exchange following protest over the weekend at the state capitol.
Protect my PHI! I mean, this is an invasion of privacy in so many ways because even on the opt-out form, you know, we still have to sign our name and who we're with, and that's even in itself is disclosing the therapist relationship.
Well, protesters say for the mental health field, the new state program will do more harm than good. They say confidentiality is why patients go to a therapist in the first place. The board of the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority is set to meet over this new law. Talking about it this Wednesday, we'll be watching. Proposed rule changes over which books are allowed in school and public libraries have parents torn on the issue.
Yeah, some parents say the rule proposal is vital to protecting children. Others say it's too vague, and there's those who say that the solution is to a problem that doesn't exist at all. The rule change would downgrade a school's accreditation if pornographic material or sexualized content is accessible to minor students.
We have a duty as public officials to protect all children and to allow parents to decide what is appropriate for their individual children. I can assure you, first and foremost, that students are not coming to the library to look for pornography.
Who determines what is offensive? Who is an average person in Oklahoma?
So requires school districts to have a written policy for reviewing library materials and for responding to complaints.
Now to New York City, where officials are preparing for possible protests today after former President Donald Trump called on protesters from his social media blog. All of this because word is out that Donald Trump could be arrested tomorrow in connection with a hush money case being weighed by a New York grand jury. Now, Donald Trump's team says the prediction is based on media reports. They have not heard from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, even though they have met with law enforcement. At this point, the arrest is set for possibly Tuesday. We will be watching.
Well, today marks 20 years since the U.S. start in the war in Iraq, the conflict spanning 9 years. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata was in Iraq when fighting started and reflects back on the early days of the war.
It was a huge story. It was also my first real war. It was the first time I had witnessed such incredible violence, such incredible firepower, the suffering, the suicide car bombings.
No electricity, no running water, just the hum of generators to keep Charlie D'Agata on television.
This is the compassionate face of the U.S. military machine.
I remember very graphically the terrorist attack on the UN building here in Baghdad. That was as close as I've been and as immediate as I've been to a building that has been hit and seeing the suffering and the death and destruction of the people. And that left a mark on me.
More than 4,500 U.S. servicemen and women were killed as a result of the war. Researchers estimate more than 400,000 Iraqis lost their life during that conflict.
We have a lot more ahead here on News 9 at 9. Some of Oklahoma's finest are asking for help to fix up an American Legion post in need.
The impact not getting that building fixed could have on Oklahoma veterans coming up. Plus, there's a new program helping veterans and current service members transition out of the military. Those details coming up.
But next here on 9, we're talking about a disease impacting 10% of women and their ability to have a child. More on endometriosis and what you need to know. It's next. Welcome back. You know, sometimes endometriosis is a taboo to talk about it, but March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. It is actually a common condition that does affect a lot of women.
And joining us to explain and share more information is OU Health's Dr. Jessica Putman. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
Kind of just tell us, what is endometriosis and how is it diagnosed?
Yeah, so endometriosis is where you have the tissue that normally would line the uterus outside of the uterus. So it can be on the fallopian tubes, on the ovaries, or sort of anywhere in the lining of the pelvis, really anywhere in the abdomen. And that tissue, just like with the tissue that lines the uterus, is stimulated by hormones. And so it builds up every month and then sheds. But when it's not in the uterus, it doesn't really have anywhere to go. And so it causes a lot of irritation and inflammation in those spots and can cause pain.
Lots of pain, right?
Lots of pain, exactly. And so as far as diagnosis, it's really tricky. You know, specialists in endometriosis can sort of clinically diagnose it based on your symptoms, but really the only way to definitively diagnose it is with surgery, to look inside the abdomen, usually with a camera, and then take some biopsies and then look under the microscope to kind of confirm the diagnosis.
What do you say to women who struggle with this? And one of our producers, we were talking about it, she's very young, and when she was young, went to the doctor, and the doctor kind of minimized it and said, this might all be in your head. You don't really have anything real serious. But it turned out she had a very severe case of endometriosis. You know, what is the process that goes through a woman's head and their body of when you feel like maybe you're not being heard?
Yeah, so definitely I would tell those patients to seek a second opinion or find someone that is a specialist in pelvic pain or endometriosis. You know, women are often told that things are supposed to be painful, just kind of suck it up and go about your life. But, you know, patients with endometriosis, the pain is severe, requiring ER visits sometimes, missing work, missing life functions or school, and that's really not normal. A period should not cause that amount of pain.
I think a lot of folks probably, one of the first things that goes through their mind when they get this diagnosis is, how does this impact fertility?
Yeah.
What is that like?
Yeah, so, you know, patients with endometriosis, about a third up to a half can struggle to get pregnant. Thankfully, that doesn't mean those people can't get pregnant, but that just means they may need some additional help, either with surgery or medical therapy, or even, you know, assisted reproductive therapy with some infertility specialist. But usually what happens is that endometriosis can kind of block off the tube, so the egg and the sperm can't really get together and make a baby. And so that's usually the biggest cause of infertility in these patients.
How severe can these cases be? I mean, it can be very debilitating.
Yes, and what's actually interesting is the amount of disease doesn't exactly match up with patients' symptoms, so we sort of stage it 1 through 4. And so even if you have the worst stage, or stage 4, it doesn't mean your symptoms are going to be worse than someone with stage 1. It's a very interesting disease that we still don't know a lot about, which makes it harder to sort of treat sometimes.
Well, I just appreciate you coming in and having a conversation about it. We'll have more information on our website. Dr. Putman, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it.
From the Bob Mills Weather Center, Oklahoma weather expert, Lacey Swope.
All right, guys, we are talking about a very cold weekend and a warm-up that has happened. And you will notice as we go through the day, our temperatures will warm back up closer to average, and today's the coolest of the next 9. The wind is going to crank up, and if you're thinking, okay, these spring-like temps have got me pretty excited, looking at going and doing some planting, hopefully you haven't already done that, just know our average final freeze in Oklahoma City in the metro is the first week of April. We do have some 30s coming back on the 9-day, and of course it's not until the middle to end of April when you get out into the Oklahoma Panhandle. It does vary, and right now we are having a hard freeze for folks in the southeast. That's the advisories that you're seeing, and that extends across the deep south. Many of these states have already seen everything bloom on out. It looks and feels like spring, and then you get a hard freeze like this, and that can do some damage. So don't plant just yet. We do have showers coming in from the west. We need the rain, that's for sure. And rain chances do go up for parts of the region heading into tonight, and especially tomorrow morning. Tracking the showers out in the Texas Panhandle. As we zoom it in, take a finer look here. We're getting a few sprinkles once you get down to the east of Amarillo, all the way down basically to just to the west of Abilene. Still a long way away, and it's going to be a long time before we get the rain. Here in Oklahoma, most of the daylight hours are dry. It's 39 currently on our Lucky Star Sky Cam network. South winds, they're picking up. Get ready for the breeze. It'll be here for the next several days. Upper 30s, low 40s, winds 15, 25, gusts to 30 at times. And the wind chill, it's in the 20s and low 30s. So it is cold. You will feel it, but that warming trend is just getting going. So your hour by hour forecast, 52 at noon, 59 by 3 p.m. Still some high thin cloud cover that just streams in through the day, so it's filtered sunshine at best. Highs in the 50s, low 60s. One of the warmer spots, Woodward, Alva, and Guyman. Lower, mid, upper 60s is what we're expecting. And then as we get into the evening hours, rain chances bump up 10 to 20%. A spotty shower or two is possible. That chance starts to ramp up in northeastern Oklahoma, and that goes all the way up to 80 to 100% tonight and tomorrow morning. Widespread showers. Now we'll have trackers out just to monitor the roadways for you tomorrow. Not expecting severe weather as far as wind or hail. but the rain on the roadways can just cause the morning drive to get a little tricky. So we'll be covering that for you. Slight chance of rain in the west. And as far as the amounts of rain out of this, 1/10 of an inch at most in central Oklahoma. Some areas will just pick up a few 1/100ths of an inch, closer to a quarter, maybe even a couple bullseyes of a 1/2 of an inch once you get into northeastern Oklahoma. That's kind of storm number 1 as it moves on through. Not incredibly strong enough to give us some pockets of rain, not enough instability to have any severe weather, but that changes. Taking you through tomorrow morning, south winds stay strong, and this is Gulf moisture, and that makes its return back to Oklahoma. The Arctic air shoved it way down south, but that south wind will pull it right back up. So Wednesday, still warm and windy. Thursday, watch the energy approach Oklahoma. Look at the jet stream winds start to ramp up. We'll actually have a warm front that will lift in early in the day, and then that gets pushed to the south as a cold front late in the afternoon. That will spark thunderstorms, and some of those will have the chance to be severe. That wave moves on by. Another wave arrives for your weekend. It's mostly moisture starved right now the way it looks, with another wave heading in next week. So it's still a very progressive pattern. Tonight, 40s above freezing, rain chances going up, and then tomorrow the rain ends from the west to the east, and with that cloud cover holds on. Look at the difference. 50s in eastern Oklahoma, 70 Oklahoma City, mid and upper 70s in western Oklahoma for your Tuesday. Winds relax a little bit in the west tomorrow, and then Wednesday, warm, windy, upper 70s, low 80s. And by the way, this is well above average, but nowhere close to the record. I believe the record is in the upper 80s for Wednesday in Oklahoma City, and we're not getting there. Cold front arrives heading into Thursday afternoon, and thunderstorms try to take off. Those will press off towards the south and east. Right now, it looks like golf ball size hail, 75-mile-an-hour winds, and a low tornado threat. Now, this could change, and we may have to bump this up to a moderate threat for parts of the area, so stay tuned this week. Rain chances do look likely with pockets of heavy rain and cold enough for, once again, a wintry mix out in our panhandle. Look at your temperatures, 59, 70, 79 degrees, 70 on Thursday. And then even behind the cold front, it'll be chilly in the morning Friday, 62 in the afternoon, upper 30s for a couple of mornings with 60s on the way into next week. All right, that's your 9-day. We're back with what caught my eye right after this.
Every year, people from all 50 states and many countries come here to Oklahoma City.
For a run to remember, for those who were killed, those who survived, and those changed forever. Come join us for this year's Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon.
6 races, volunteer opportunities, and of course, cheering on the runners.
There are ways for everyone to celebrate and remember life all weekend.
Let's all lace up and run to remember. Log on to okcmarathon.com today.
Kindness, generosity, happiness.
Great things happen every single day.
Stories of Oklahomans making our state better. See Something Good. Brought to you by First Fidelity Bank. Weeknights at 6, only on Oklahoma's own News 9.
We love that we've kind of brightened up the place, but we're telling Storm, you're going to have to make sure you wear the same pair of socks every day.
I almost wore the socks that have Lacey's face on them today.
Yeah. It would have been the time to bust those out.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of chances, Lacey.
We're kind of liking our new casual set here. We hope you are too, and it's time for one of our favorite parts of the morning, What Caught My Eye.
Lacey, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm starting in San Clemente, California. You've got to see this video. You've heard of the atmospheric river, basically meaning they're just getting round after round of heavy rain, and it's caused a lot of mudslides. These are homes that are on a bluff, right on the cliff tops. And the cliff has been eroding away, and this drone footage is so wild. These poor people, their home, I mean, check it out. Their pool is hanging over the cliff. So you talk about an infinity pool. Yeah, no thank you. So they've evacuated this entire region, but this is just collapsing these massive homes on the coast. And this is going to continue in California because the rain continues.
Yes, I mean, it's like you knew one day it was going to happen.
Right.
It's just when you see it, you're like, how could this happen?
Exactly.
You know?
Well, because you're on the top of a cliff.
Oh,
wow.
That is
wild, isn't it?
crazy. Yes. All right, what you got here?
Hey, a Latin native on American Idol. I love watching American Idol on Hulu. Caught my eye. PJ made his debut.
So tell me, is that way too much to ask? Would you be that someone?
Last night, the singer from Oklahoma got the golden ticket to Hollywood, getting a standing ovation from all 3 judges. He says he's excited to share his idol journey with his friends and show them what's in store. Also, these two, wait a minute, from Oklahoma State University, we're talking about Owen Eckert and Colton Glover. They earned golden tickets as well.
Way to go.
Dr. Schrum on Facebook says the Cowboy family is rooting for the pair. So that's at least 3. At least, I think this may be my year, Lacey. We can make it 4.
No.
Did you hear my Garth Brooks last week?
Yeah, I did.
You don't sing.
Lacey heard it.
I did hear
No, I'm not buying
Robin
We're
must
really
have.
excited for them.
Yes, let's keep it focused on them.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'll tell you someone who is perfect. A perfect 10. Yep, let me show you OU women's gymnastics wins big at the Big 12 championship. That's Reagan Smith. She closed out the competition. This gal is perfection. Yes, a 10 on the beam. The #1 ranked team won all 4 events, posted its best beam score in the program history, and they registered the best ever Big 12 championship score. Watch this.
Whoa.
I mean, look at that.
It's insanity.
This just, I mean, I love watching gymnastics. OU,
Yes.
one of the best in the country. They're the best in the Big 12. And Reagan has had to fight hard to get back to this point, and she has done a great job. And I mean,
they truly are a dynasty. And how do they get better? I don't know what they do now. Perfect 10.
Yes. Is that not
that's
crazy?
insane.
Wild.
Could not do that.
Congratulations. All right. We got to pay some bills. We'll take a commercial break. We're back with more. Glad you're with us here on News 9.
And Jordan Daphnis.
Hey guys, well, a woman passed away 10 years ago to lung cancer, but to this day, her story lives on. I'll have more after the break.
What Caught My Eye is brought to you by West Yala Gosney, attorneys at law. Call Will and Rob.
This is Oklahoma's own News 9.
It's 9:30. Thanks for staying with us here on News 9. Good morning again. I'm Robin Marsh.
And I'm Storm Jones. Lacey Swope with us on the first day of spring.
Yes, very excited. Are you guys pumped?
Yes.
Oh, we're so pumped. And
Ready
as long
for-
as it feels like it.
Yeah.
Well, it will. Not today. Today's a little cool. It still is, but it's not as cold as what it was over the weekend.
I'm just ready to get some like flowers in the front beds of the house.
And you're noticing a lot of the yards, the lawns are starting to green up, or at least the weed ones like mine. So that's all happening. Flowers are blooming. Trees are budding out. Many of the trees now have full-blown leaves on them. So it is getting warmer and warmer. Soil temps are heating up, and spring officially begins at 4:24 p.m. That's our equinox later today. We are watching a cold front up to the north. That storm not actually going to make it in Oklahoma. We'll keep a south wind around through the day, but we are tracking rain, a few showers back in the southwest into Texas, not into Oklahoma yet. Still far cry from making it to the border, and the leading edge will kind of erode away for several hours today, battling dry air. Currently, cloud cover moving through, high thin clouds, 39 degrees. Filtered sunshine is what we're expecting. Temps are in the upper 30s, low 40s, south winds 15-25, gusts to 35 with wind chills in the low 30s. The wind chill becoming less and less of an issue as we warm up. 50s and 60s is where we're headed later today. Coming up, I'll show you all of future next gen, taking you through tonight. That's when the rain moves in, how much we're expecting, and what about the threat for severe weather that's going up on Thursday. All that in just a minute.
All right, Lace, we'll check back in. Well, this coming weekend, a climb called The Fight for Air takes place at the Bricktown Ballpark to bring attention to the impact lung cancer has on Oklahomans.
Our Jordan Daphnis spoke with one woman who lost her sister to cancer 10 years ago. To this day, she is honoring her memory and making a difference. Jordan, tell us the story.
Well, you guys, it's actually quite incredible. Wendy and her team of friends and family have raised over 10 years more than $200,000 in honor of her sister, Nikki. You gotta hear this story.
My sister was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2012, and she was only 37 years old.
Nikki lost her battle to lung cancer in 2013.
You don't think at that age, being a non-smoker, about lung cancer.
Throughout her life, she worked to make a difference in the lives of Oklahomans.
All during her career, she's worked with foster children. She worked with, like I said, prisoners. She worked with families. She worked with Native Americans. And her whole life, she was helping people.
In 10 years after her death, Nikki is still making an impact.
That's why I do it, because she would.
Wendy says they typically put together a team of 30 to 40 fundraising all year long.
Just after 10 years to still have the support and the people that support us.
This year, they've raised more than $26,000, putting their team over the $200,000 mark, a record for Oklahoma.
Just to continue to have the support from all our friends and family and everyone still wanting to climb stairs after all this time, I have no words.
Though Nikki is not physically here, Every year, at least for one day, she is the reason a community gathers and lives are changed.
Everyone's talking about Nikki, and everyone's talking about what we're doing for Nikki and asking me, and I get to do things like this to tell her story because of the money we raise.
And if you want to take part in the Fight for Air climb, you can still sign up. I'm going to have the information on the News 9 app. All you have to do is raise or donate $100 and then sign up. I'll be here this weekend. It's Saturday morning here at Bricktown Ballpark. Live this morning, Jordan Daphnis for Oklahoma's Own News 9.
All right, good work, Jordan. Thank you. Today, the Oklahoma Corporation Commission is holding a meeting to discuss the Ratepayer Protection Act being considered by state lawmakers. It's also known as Senate Bill 1103 that would change how utility companies ask for rate changes. Instead of a hearing every few years, rates would change gradually based on performance. AARP Oklahoma is opposing the bill, saying the measure does not include ratepayer protections to limit annual rate increases. The commission meets at 1:30 this afternoon. We'll be following it.
Well, a little water trouble up in Enid. The city of Enid says crews are working to restore water following a main break. The city says crews are working on an emergency main break near Roop and U.S. Route 81, causing that water outage in the area. Residents at the Meadow Lake Municipal Golf Course may be dealing with some water outages or some low pressure. The city of Enid says water will be restored as soon as possible.
Well, the American Legion Post in Little Axe says they could use a little help from the community.
After years of neglect, members tell News 9's Deanne Stein their building is in desperate need of repairs.
That building has had no heat or air for the past year, so members are asking the community to help them replace it.
The roof was leaking, the air conditioner didn't work, the heater didn't work.
From top to bottom, Commander Michael Tredick lists off everything that is wrong with the building that houses American Legion Post 274.
We've been using it for 60 years, and I think this is original equipment here. It's at least 50 years old.
Air conditioning and heating units that no longer work.
It's warmer outside than it is inside, and it's not very warm outside either.
The Post was able to get a new roof but have no money to replace the units, making it miserable for those who visit.
My first fish fry was in February, and it was freezing. And but fellowship warms it up.
It's this camaraderie that keeps Post 274 going with its 30 active members.
It's good for the veterans to get together and have people that know their background and talk and can share stories.
It's also become a gathering place for the community for fundraisers and events.
If we have to be indoors, it would be nice to have climate control.
To do that, it's going to cost $25,000. So the Post started a Fundly campaign to raise the money.
Hopefully we can get something done so it makes it more comfortable to eat on Saturdays.
We'll take every dollar. I pick up every penny.
Because when the seasons change, the struggle will heat up.
Unless we can get these replaced by summer, we're going to be really hurting.
To make a donation, we put that link on our News 9 app. In the newsroom, I'm Deanne Stein.
And we'll keep everyone posted on that. Deanne, thanks so much. Well, during National Fix a Leak Week, Oklahoma City officials are urging residents to check their homes for any common household leaks. The data shows 10% of homes have leaks that waste up to 90 gallons or more every day of water. Finding and stopping leaks can also save you up to 10% on your water bill. Make sure first check the faucets, make sure they're not leaking. And then if there are any kinks in the outside sprinklers, that can be a problem as well. We'll keep you posted on the leak watch.
All right, check it out there. Hey, construction on Embark's Transit Center begins today, temporarily moving some bus bays. Here's a rundown. Bay Q is moving to Northwest 5th, facing east. Bay L is now at Northwest 4th, facing west. Bay I is now on Hudson, looking south. Also, we want to tell you the North Side ADA side ramp is closed at that location. Customers with mobility devices will need to use the ramp on the south side of that building. The Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs has a new program to help veterans and current service members transition out of the military.
It's pretty cool. It's called OK Step, and it works as a one-stop shop for military members and veterans to find resources here in Oklahoma.
I feel this new program is set up in a similar fashion to help veterans separated from the military also be successful in their mission to be happy, healthy, and productive member of society.
And the program also provides online skill-based training with more than 5,000 topics. If you'd like to learn a little more about OK Step, you can go to the website oklahoma.gov/OKStep. We'll link that to our website.
Boy, a big national story we've been following. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, sells a huge chunk of Signature Bank to Flagstar Bank following its collapse last week. Flagstar paying out $2.7 billion to acquire the majority of Signature Bank's deposits. The FDIC says all of Signature Bank's 40 former branches will operate with normal business hours starting today under the new Flagstar Bank.
And just a heads up, a consumer alert today for your freezer. Scenic Fruit Company is recalling its frozen organic tropical fruit blend and frozen organic strawberries. These are sold at Trader Joe's, Costco, even Aldi. The FDA says there have been at least 5 hepatitis A infections linked to the fruit. Hepatitis A can cause liver failure in rare occasions. Consumers are advised to throw it all away or return it to the store you purchased it at for a refund.
Well, since Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin's life was saved during Monday Night Football, there's been a push to get more people trained to use CPR. And now there's an app for it, this is cool, called Rescue Me CPR. And it'll show users a step-by-step instruction on what to do in case of a cardiac arrest.
It gives you a choice, you make the choice, and then you move on to the next. And within 45 seconds, you're already doing chest compressions.
It's called Rescue Me, and it's available for free on the Apple and Google Play stores.
And ahead here on News 9 at 9, we're talking about a way to save money while protecting it against inflation. The expert advice in just a moment.
Plus, several Oklahoma teams competing in the National Invitation Tournament over the weekend. Which ones are going on to the next round? We have a recap on that coming up.
And soon to be on the bench, sunny skies. Lacey Swope says rain is heading our way. And it's a possible severe storm system coming as well. The timeline for it all from Lacey right after the break.
The 9 a.m. Business Report was brought to you by Chapelwood Financial Services, investment advisors to millionaires.
Welcome back. Talking a little money today. Boy, we've all felt it. The squeeze on our billfold thanks to inflation, and now many people just trying to save a buck wherever they can.
Yeah, put me into that category. Joining us to talk about one type of way to save I-bonds is Scott Staten with Staten Financial Group. Scott, thanks for being with us.
Yeah,
I-bonds. I'm not sure I've heard of this before.
So the I stands for inflation. It's a type of U.S. savings bond that will pay interest up to 30 years. It's got two components, a fixed rate, which is usually pretty low. Currently, it's 0.4%. And then the inflation rate. So as inflation goes up, the I-bond pays more interest.
So how much can you buy on an I-bond?
Yeah, so every person can buy up to $10,000 per year. Those are electronic through the Treasury Direct. If you use a tax refund, you can buy up to an additional $5,000 of paper bonds. So a couple could buy $25,000 per year if they wanted to.
And how much money is this going to make if you put $10,000 in? I know the rate can go up and down, but what's it looking now?
It reprices every 6 months. Okay. So from April through November, it's currently 6.89%.
Okay.
But that will change in November. So if inflation goes up, it'll be a higher rate. If inflation comes down, it'll be lower. So they're only locked in for 6 months at a time. So that rate changes every 6 months.
6.8%. I mean, that's a lot more than my savings account, right? I mean, that's pretty good.
Isn't that the truth?
It is, yeah.
How about the tax on it? How does that work?
So they're subject to federal tax. They're exempt from state tax, but they are taxed as ordinary income. So a federal tax rate is usually higher than most people's capital gains rate. So it's something to be concerned, or not concerned, but aware of. If you do an I-bond, you're going to pay federal income tax on that interest, and it's paid every 6 months.
That high interest rate may sound enticing for folks. What considerations, what are the drawbacks to something like this?
Yeah, great question, and there are some. So liquidity is one. You cannot sell an I-bond for 1 year. No matter what happens, you cannot get your money back.
So you can't get your hands on that money if you need it.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
So definitely emergency money. Anything for short-term needs should not be in an I-bond. You can sell them after 1 year, but if you sell between years 1 and 5, you forfeit the last 3 months of interest. After year 5, you can sell them at whatever the value is, but they will continue to earn interest for 30 years if you want to leave them in there.
Wow. All right. Good advice today.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it. I've never heard of that, and but you do have to have kind of that extra money to be able to do it off the top.
Yeah, and we get a lot of calls, people wanting to put a lot of money in them, and we tell them, well, the one drawback is you can only do $10,000 per person per year, so you can't put a large portfolio in there, and you probably shouldn't anyway because, again, it's not that liquid, so just keep that in mind. It needs to be money that you don't need for at least 1 year.
Well, any way to save $1 or make $1, right?
You can make a little bit more money with them for sure.
There you go. Scott, thanks so much. We
Hey, thank
appreciate you
you
coming in.
All right, thanks.
All right. Lacey, how's it looking outside?
Hey, starting off in space, that's where we're going to start you off because today is the first day of spring. Now, the equinox officially happens at 4:24 p.m. Why do we talk about the first day of spring? Well, starters, the Earth is tilted, just so you know. The axis, 23.5 degrees. We won't get into the nuts and bolts of that. But what that means is we are making our trek around the sun at different times. The northern hemisphere, where we live, is either tilted towards or away from the sun, giving us either fall or winter. What happens in March is we are neither tilted towards or away from the sun. It's what we call an equinox, and that gives us equal amounts of daylight and equal amounts of darkness. And when the sun passes over what we call the celestial equator, that's when we start to transition to officially spring, and that happens at 4:24 this afternoon. And temperatures are going to be on the rise. We're actually following suit, okay? Today we're starting off, it was cold. It wasn't nearly as cold as yesterday morning, nothing like yesterday. We have wind, we have a little cloud cover, we've got a little shower activity ongoing out in West Texas. You can see the spotty showers picking up in intensity out over New Mexico. This will all swing up over Oklahoma much, much later today. Right now, you can take a look. It's way down near Abilene where the showers are actually falling. So much later this evening, that's when we're expecting the rain. Let me show you a future next gen of the cloud cover moving in, maybe a spotty shower or two. Here's 9 p.m. We are mostly dry. It's really after midnight that the rain starts to get its act together. So for tomorrow morning on our morning show, we'll have trackers out. We'll have them in this rain. Might have a few claps of thunder, not a lot of thunder and lightning expected within this. Not expecting severe weather, but rain around the roadways can cause a tricky morning commute. Rain exits after about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we start to dry it out, and eventually we clear it out. Skies will clear from west to east. 39 degrees is where we are currently. No rain. 30s, low 40s. Winds are up, especially northern and western Oklahoma, gusting 25, 30. Now getting some gusts to 35. So wind chill still a factor. Feels like the 30s in most locations. Highs today will warm into the 50s and low 60s. 66 out in Guyman, one of our warmer spots today. Rain chance this evening, 10 to 20%. Showers start to take off a little bit, more widespread up to the north and northwest late this evening, and it's overnight. This area kind of fills in central and eastern Oklahoma. Still a 30 to a 40% chance of a sprinkle at best for folks in the west. And of course, this is where the drought is raging on. If you take a look, no rain really expected out of this with the exception of maybe some drizzle. Up to a few 1/100ths of an inch in the metro. A few lucky folks might get a 1/10 of an inch with higher totals up the Turner Turnpike. Tonight above freezing, so it'll all be liquid, no winter weather, but windy, 25, 35, some gusts to 40 overnight. And tomorrow, a similar scene. Now, western Oklahoma, your winds do back off a little bit, and your temperatures kind of climb into the mid-upper 70s. We'll get close to 70 here in Oklahoma City. It's very cloud dependent tomorrow. If the clouds hang on a little longer, I might have to bring that down. But right now, thinking that the clouds will clear out early enough. 50s for highs in eastern Oklahoma. And then Wednesday, 70s and 80s. Much warmer. Spring break, we couldn't get close to this. Now that everyone's going back to work, the kids are back to school, we're going to have some pretty pleasant afternoons and feeling very much like late spring by the time we get to your Wednesday. That sets the stage for Thursday. We'll get the Gulf moisture. We'll have the instability around. Strong jet stream winds pick up. The storms arriving in the afternoon and the evening, and thunderstorms fire. The question is this a crashing cold front moving through, which would limit the tornado threat? Or does the warm front win out for a little bit and we kind of pivot here in central Oklahoma with some very high instability and low-level wind shear? We'll have to see. Right now, we're calling it a low risk for severe weather for large hail, damaging winds, and a low tornado threat. Still several days away, but the rain with it looks good for central, southern, and eastern Oklahoma. Again, it looks too dry for folks in the west and cold enough by late in the day Thursday to have some snow mixing in the far Oklahoma panhandle. So rain chances going up tonight and tomorrow morning. We'll be tracking that. 70s tomorrow, 79 on Wednesday. Cold front arrives late in the day Thursday. Storm chances go up with a severe risk. We do turn cooler behind that system into your Friday. And the upcoming weekend, it's looking pretty good. Highs in the upper 60s. And we're back right after this.
3 straight months of record-breaking tornado activity, and it's only March. David Payne explains what new data has revealed. Watch David's spring severe weather forecast Wednesday night at 10 on Oklahoma's own News 9. A different way to watch news. Something good. Only on Oklahoma's own News 9.
Hey, welcome back. The Oklahoma State University men's basketball team's heading to the National Invitation Tournament quarterfinals in IT. The Cowboys defeated Eastern Washington yesterday in Stillwater.
OSU took the lead with 5:35 left in the first half, and they never looked back. Cowboys won 71-60. Next, they host North Texas tomorrow at 6.
Hey, how about some women's NCAA action? The Lady Sooners beat 12th seed Portland on Saturday, 85-63. So tonight, the Sooner women play UCLA. It's at 9 p.m. and OSU women are out of the tournament. They lost to Miami, I believe it was, yes, on Saturday. The OU game will be on ESPN2 tonight.
All right, ladies, check this out. We're pretty fired up about this one. Oklahoma City residents have a chance to meet the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile today.
This is exciting stuff. The 27-foot hot dog on wheels will be at the Walmart near Northwest Expressway in Council. This is from 11 to 1 o'clock.
I want to drive that.
I just could picture you driving
like
it,
down
Robin.
the Broadway extension.
Yes.
Here comes Birdie down Broadway.
Parking it in our parking garage would be amazing. Parallel parking downtown.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I would love to make that work. Okay, so it's Northwest Expressway in Council, 11 to 1, and then it will bust its buns, you might say, to the Walmart Alfreno and MacArthur from 3 to 6 this afternoon.
Hey, the city of Moore is preparing for an extremely fun Easter egg scramble. Children under 12 years old can go search for hidden eggs at the football fields at Buck Thomas Park on April 1st. That's no joke. The hunt starts at 10:30 April 1st. The city says there'll be lots of candy and eggs, so don't forget to bring a basket. Back after this.
The fastest news helicopter and the most experienced pilot, Jim Gardner. Bob Mills, Sky News 9, only on Oklahoma's own News 9.
Don't be surprised we get a little rain, right?
Beneath this rain, we do. We have rain chances going up, especially late this evening and tonight, well after dark here in Oklahoma City. Most of this will be after midnight, really into the early morning hours of your Tuesday. So tomorrow morning, the drive does look wet in the metro. We'll have trackers out, just bringing you updates for any problem areas. No winter weather expected.
A lot of folks are going to be itching to get some things in the ground.
I know.
How's that looking, Liz?
Well, that's always the issue this time of year. It's really best to wait until at least early April in Oklahoma. We have 30s there. You saw it on the 9-day. Close to freezing. Don't see any true Arctic air like what we just had over the weekend. But you may want to hold off just
maybe
a
like
bit.
Easter's, like April 9th we were just talking
Yeah.
about. So maybe kind of give yourself till then.
Yes. Okay. Or be brave. Whatever.
Live a little.
Hey, make it a great day. We'll see you later.